Today we are going to talk about a big myth in the world of meditation, one that gets repeated every day, and even though most people struggle with it, it has been turned into such a sacred cow that no one is willing to kill it. This myth that I want to talk about is the myth that you need to sit with a straight back for meditation, or else your meditation won't work. This myth is very popular in the community, so much so that if you go to any spiritual forum, one of the most common questions is, I find it hard to sit with a straight back. What do I do? And rather than challenging the assumption that you have to sit with a straight back, people suggest solutions like lying down or sitting on a chair, both of which are fine, except today I'd like to challenge the very concept, the very idea that sitting with a straight back has anything to do with meditation. Before we start, a little history. I spent many years trying to meditate with a straight back, and like many of you, my back hurt. I tried sitting on a hard chair, but I found that my attention was constantly on my back. Is my back straight? 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 Until one day I realized that instead of meditating, I was spending all my time in the body, obsessed with how the body was sitting and what it was doing. This is how most meditation courses are taught. Sit this way, sit that way, and if you fail to sit like you're told, you're doing it wrong, you will be corrected. Your meditation won't succeed. And so many people force themselves to sit with a straight back, and like me, all their time is spent stuck in the body, and more importantly, stuck in the mind, because the mind is constantly monitoring the body, checking if it is in a perfect state. Rather than being mindful, rather than being aware of ourselves and our being and our energy body, all our awareness is sucked up by this mind process, constantly checking if the back is straight. But why do you need a straight back for meditation? I think the mistake comes from not having a clear idea of what meditation is in the first place. Many people believe that meditation is going into some trance-like state that takes you away from this world and the body And before you can go into this trance-like state, you have to sit immobile for hours. And to sit immobile or unmoving for hours, you need to sit in a certain way. But meditation is not a trance-like state. Losing awareness of the body is not meditation. And if all you want to do is to go into an altered state of consciousness, then let me tell you, drugs are easier. Just smoke some dope. And it'll be a lot easier than spending 10 hours trying to sit with a painful back. Meditation is actually resting into our natural state of being, a state of awareness, a state of presence, a state of kindness and love for yourself, for your being. And if you're constantly shaming yourself or being shamed by others because you don't have a straight back, then that means you have lost the state of awareness or presence. Because this state of awareness does not have any cruelty or shaming in it. It is a state of love, joy, and peace. And it is our natural state. So why do many people believe that you need to sit with a straight back? It is because of historical reasons. Many traditions like Kundalini Yoga, Zen, Hatha Yoga, Raj Yoga, and some Buddhist meditation, they all expect you to sit with a straight back. Now, if you belong to those traditions and you have found someone, a teacher who you know is perfect for you, then maybe yes, you might have to sit with a straight back. But the majority of us aren't practicing Kundalini Yoga or Zen. And it is important to remember the background of many of these practices. Many of these yogas arose in a society that was anti-world. They felt this body and this world were evil or an illusion, and they wanted to leave this world. For them, running away to the mountains and meditating for hours a day with a straight back so that you could achieve some state of higher consciousness and then leave the body. That was their whole goal. But I believe that this is a very wrong is the wrong word. It is not the perfect goal, running away from the world and leaving the body. Many of these traditions were anti-body, which is why they often carried out harsh practices like only eating one meal a day, sitting in a position for hours at an end. And unless you also want to punish your body, ask yourself, why are you doing this? Like I said, if you just want to achieve an altered state of consciousness, drugs are a much better way. And in America, they are even legal now. You can smoke marijuana legally. So many of these traditions that force you to sit in particular ways, they come from life-denying philosophies. Philosophies that want to leave this world and run away. And in some cases, like Zen, Japanese Zen, they come from a very militaristic society. The Japanese society, at least until World War II, was very strongly caste-based and militaristic. It was a violent society where if you weren't in the samurai class, your life was tough. Are you sure you want to copy a society or a tradition based in such a violent past? I'm not criticizing modern Japan or modern teachers. If you look at modern Buddhist teachers, especially Western ones, and especially women like Pema Chodron, I think, or is it Prema Chodron? They teach a more loving and a more gentle meditation lifestyle because they have removed the life-denying, militaristic history from these traditions. So, before you blindly follow advice from someone on the internet or some tradition that was thousands of years old in a place like India, remember, many of these cultures were life-denying, and many of the advices they gave are not suitable for us. In fact, may even harm us. Do you need to sit with a straight back for meditation? The answer always is, if you can. And do so comfortably. Sitting with a straight back has nothing to do with meditation. You can be walking in a park and meditating. You could be washing the dishes and meditating. You could be playing with your children and meditating. And the hardest of all, this is the hardest challenge. Sitting in a boring meeting where people are going blah 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 blah. I am still trying to meditate. This is the master class of meditators. Meditation is being aware of your true self, which is your being, your inner awareness, which can be done by focusing on the breath, or on a mantra, or on a visualization, or on the body awareness, but always in a gentle, kind and loving way. Remember, or rather I hope, that you don't want to run away from this world. Rather, you want to stay in the world and continue working in it. And you cannot do that if you mistreat your body in the name of spirituality. So sit straight if you can, and don't if you can't. Sit on a chair, or sit against the wall, or stand and meditate, or go for a walk, and be aware of yourself, even while you're aware of the outer world. That is the key to meditation, and not the outer form. But many people are more impressed with outer form because it is easier to impress others with it. It is more easy to show off about how long you can sit in a painful position than be loving to yourself and just focus inside. because people aren't impressed if you're just focusing on your breath. And I guess this is the reason for this emphasis on sitting with a straight back. It is done more to appear spiritual to others rather than for any benefit it might have. Let me come back to Kundalini Yoga. I've had experiences in which the energy rose through the spine. I don't know if it was Kundalini or just food I hadn't digested properly. Badly digested food, but it was something. I heard it felt spiritual, but maybe it was just bad digestion. Let me tell you something. When the energy rises in the spine automatically becomes straight, but in a very soft and gentle way. Most people have it wrong. They think that by sitting with a straight back, the energy will rise in your system. But that's like thinking that just by sitting in a car and making vroom vroom noises, that your car will start moving. That's what my son thinks. He thinks that if he sits in the car and makes vroom vroom noises, the car will start moving. If you think he's stupid, how stupid it is to just sit with a straight back and hope the Kundalini will rise by itself. Most people have it the wrong way around. It is not a straight back that leads to the Kundalini rising, but rather when the energy, the psychic energy, I don't know what it is, because scientists don't accept this thing, Kundalini thing or chakra or anything like that. But there is something, let's just call it energy, our own energy. When this energy rises, it automatically fixes the body, or it moves the body in the position it should be, and not in the position you want it to be from your mind. So rather than forcing yourself to sit in an uncomfortable position, it is always better to meditate, to just be aware, even if it is awareness of the breath. Because what I found is, if you're meditating, truly meditating, and not just scolding yourself for not sitting with a straight back, but if you're truly aware, then the energy starts to flow through your system, and it can move your body in strange ways. You might have twitching in your neck or hand. Your back might or might not become straight. Your hands might want to move by themselves, or even your legs. But the thing is, you're not in control of that. The energy is. Try not to force this energy, and don't pretend that you can control this energy by sitting with a straight back. That's what many of the old traditions try to do. They try to control this energy with force. And I'm sure it worked for a few of them. But it doesn't work for most people. How do I know? Because all I see is people complaining about pain in their back when I go on forums. To answer the question, do I need to sit with a straight back? The answer is no. It is making the wrong assumption. It is based on misinterpretation. It is based on old traditions from India and other places like China and Japan. Places which were originally life-denying philosophies. I'm sure some of them did achieve enlightenment this way. But the fact was, They did not care if their bodies were damaged when they sat for hours in an uncomfortable pose, because they did not like the body in the first place. This is a very bad and a very harmful attitude to have. You must treat the body with respect, with loving kindness. If you have no kindness towards yourself, I can assure you that you will not have kindness for others. It is very hypocritical that many spiritual people are like, oh, let's save the world, let's save the trees, the animals, the whales, the dolphins, let's save the poor people in Africa. They want to save others, but they are so cruel on themselves. They have no compassion for themselves. And remember, good posture is not an excuse for. Good posture is a good enough thing by itself. But it's like eating fruit and veg a day, 5 fruit and veg a day, or going for a jogging 3 times a week. It's all very good for your health, but it has nothing to do with spirituality. Don't say that sitting straight gives you a good posture. I don't care. We are talking about spirituality here, which is more than just sitting with a good posture, or brushing your teeth, or eating 5 fruit and veg a day. In spirituality, while on one hand, you cannot reject the body. You have to take the body with you. You have to accept the body as it is, with all its faults. If it's fat, it's fat. If it's sick, it's sick. If it slows you down, it slows you down. You have to accept the body as it is, with loving kindness. But also in a way, you have to transcend the body. But transcend not by ignoring or by killing or by hurting, but transcend by going beyond, by being something bigger than the body, by realizing that you're not this body or even this mind, but you are something that is beyond both. Many of these traditions that want to sit in a harsh sitting position, many of them are based in the mind, in which the mind decides this is spiritual and this is not, and so I will live like this. And how do you know it is the mind? Because it is constantly correcting you, shaming you, not just correcting you, but correcting other people as well. The mind only knows how to find faults. To find what is wrong with what you're doing. If it's not a straight back, it'll be something else. You're not chanting the mantra correctly, or you're not breathing naturally, or that your attention is focused on your taxes and that sexy girl over by the other side of the street rather than on your breath. The mind will always find something to complain about. But our goal is not just to go beyond the body. The mind wants to go beyond the body. The mind wants to punish the body. But we have to stop the mind, because ultimately we have to transcend the mind as well. And all the rules that the mind has created about what being spiritual is about, what being a meditator is all about. I hope I've convinced you. Some of you will not be convinced. Some of you will be nodding your head. Some of you will think I'm an idiot. And hopefully some will think I'm a genius. But don't take my word for it. Try it in your own life. Forget the body. Even forget the mind. Just try being aware of your inner self, your true being. And you will realize that such simple rules as you have to sit in a certain position, or you have to chant certain mantras, or you have to do XYZ. All these rules are ultimately rules of the mind. And real meditation takes you beyond the mind, and hence beyond all these rules. But don't take my word for it. Try it for yourself. And tell me what you think. As always, I'll leave you with a few deep breaths. Take a breath in and hold and let it out. In, hold, out. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. If you want a free course on how to contact your inner teacher, your own spiritual guide, the part of the divine who lives inside of you and is guiding your spiritual progress, then please go to my website, thepathtojoy.org. That is thepathtojoy.org. Thank you.